I descend to my final resting point and land safely in the arms of victory.
Welcome to a special Super Bowl edition of NFL Live from New York City, presented by Macy's.
It has been said many times, and I'll say it again, I'll take Manhattan. Why is New York great? Well, for starters, look at that skyline. And how about this? The Federal Reserve Bank has the largest gold bullion deposit in the world, over $400 billion. The first teddy bear invented here in 1902. The first U.S. pizzeria opened in New York City. And the country's first public brewery was opened in a Manhattan log cabin in 1633. Beer. I think our friends behind us at Herald Square might have a few by the time this weekend is over. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you in to the best Football Friday edition of NFL Live there could possibly be, the Friday before the Super Bowl. So glad you are here with us. So glad those guys back there are here with us. Trey Wingo alongside three-time champion Mark Schlereth and three-time champion Teddy Bruschi. Guys, it's Friday before the Super Bowl.
Yes.
As players, you cannot be more amped than you are right now, and we're just 2 days away from the greatest sporting spectacle in this country. Running through the main storylines, it's Denver's #1 offense against Seattle's #1 D. Just the second Super Bowl ever between the #1 and #1 defense and offense in terms of yards. Peyton Manning and the Colts won Super Bowl 41, and now he has a chance to become the first quarterback to win with two different teams. Kurt Warner came oh so close, but came up short in Super Bowl 43. Seattle's Russell Wilson looking for his 28th win, which would be the most by a quarterback in his first two seasons in the Super Bowl era. He'd be the fourth second-year QB to win it all. Tom Brady did that, but I don't have to tell you that, Teddy. Broncos are looking to win their third title, while the Seahawks have never hosted a Lombardi trifle. Both coaches, though, not thinking about losing today.
You can't do it by yourself as a coach, as a head coach, as an assistant coach. It takes leadership in that locker room. And I think, those guys for our team raise all boats. And people, not just don't want to let the coach down, don't want to let the city or the organization down. They don't want to let their teammates down. And I know I appreciate Peyton, and Champ and guys like that in that locker room. And they're a big part of why we're sitting here.
In contrast somewhat, we have a very, very young team, and we have a bunch of guys that have they're growing up together as a team that comes together to try to do something special, rallying around just kind of the brotherhood of it all. And so it's very exciting to see how it can be in such different formats and different makeups, but you can still get championship play.
Not only in terms of O&D are these teams different, they're vastly different in a lot of ways. The Seahawks have no players with previous Super Bowl experience. The Broncos have 4. This is just the 5th time since 1980 we've had a Super Bowl team without any previous experience. In the previous 4 instances, the team with no experience lost 3 out of 4 times. Reports on both teams now. Josina Anderson has the AFC champion Broncos covered, but we begin with the words of Ed Werder, who's with the NFC champions from Seattle.
Head coach Pete Carroll completed his Super Bowl media obligations here at the Rose Theater, finding himself both literally and figuratively closer than ever to the Lombardi trophy he covets. Carroll was relaxed, and his sense of humor stole the moment, such as when he called Denver's John Fox a stud for comparing open heart surgery to an ankle sprain. Similarly, when asked what he could have if he could borrow something from the Broncos, Carroll deadpanned Seattle would like to have all the points that Peyton Manning's team has scored this season. Carroll will spend the rest of the day completing his meticulous preparation of his team. Their walkthrough practice includes rehearsing some of the unique elements of the Super Bowl. To prepare for the extended halftime, the Seahawks will go into the locker room for 29 minutes, just as they will on Sunday, and then return to the field to warm up as they will for the second half of the actual game. They unexpectedly practiced that in week 2 of the regular season when they endured an hour-long lightning delay before taking the field and blowing out the San Francisco 49ers. With the Seahawks, I'm Ed Werder, ESPN.
Well, one big question I keep hearing this Super Bowl week is, can the Broncos' finesse offense truly go mano-a-mano with this bruising Seahawks defense? Tight end Joel Dreesen told me, I think that's one of the most insulting things that you can say to a football team, calling them finesse or calling them soft. That really bothers us. He says you cannot make it to a Super Bowl by being soft. He says that I think they haven't actually faced an offense like ours. We are just as physical as them. Now, while some choose to focus on the toughness factor, Broncos return man Trendon Holiday says that this #1 offense versus #1 defense matchup may actually come down to special teams. Holiday told me that he's going to wait until the national anthem to visualize, quote, how I can make the one play that our team needs. Remember that 2 of Holiday's 4 return touchdowns as a Bronco came during last season's playoff game against the Ravens. Now, speaking of making a difference, Broncos linebacker Danny Trevathan told me he's been watching this week as Marshawn Lynch's star has grown, going from beast mode to silent mode, and how he can turn Lynch's spotlight into his own. Trevathan told me, quote, going up against Lynch is a big opportunity for me. Cats have been sleeping on me, and I promise you after the Super Bowl, they will know who Danny Trevathan is. With the Broncos, I'm Josina Anderson, ESPN.
Josina, Ed, thanks very much. Teddy likes Danny Trevathan making a statement early. All right, let's talk about this for a minute, because actually he's one of the younger Denver Broncos. It is youth versus experience. What do you like better come Super Sunday? Experience, battle-tested, or young and hungry?
What do they say about youth? It's wasted on the young.
Yes.
I like battle-tested. I like old guys. I like guys who have been there, that have some experience, and that know how to adjust during the course of a game and aren't going to get panicked no matter what happens during the course of the game. So I'll take experience over youth every time.
Yeah, and I'd rather also go with a battle-tested team. I mean, we won it both ways. In 01, we were an inexperienced team. We win the Super Bowl a couple more years. Guys are battle-tested. You have that experience. But there are moments in this Super Bowl that emotionally young players sometimes can't control. When Renee Fleming sings that national anthem, they can't possibly anticipate the emotions that they are going to experience, feeling that they're about to walk on that field in that first quarter and the Super Bowl's on the line. That emotional high, sometimes young experienced players cannot handle that, and they do things out of character. So I'd rather have the battle-tested team, because you still don't know how some of these young players are going to react to that emotion.
The thing I always get concerned about with young players, trying to do more than your job. And you saw the Broncos, that happened to them last year in the playoffs against the Baltimore Ravens, and what happened? 70-yard touchdown, game over, overtime. That's what happens.
You've already got guys like Danny Trevathan talking about wanting to become a household name. What other game do you go into with that goal? That right there, that statement is out of character.
Hey, listen, to that point about...
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. But it's a little...
I don't like it.
He's already geeked up, Trey.
But to that point about they don't know what it's going to be like, Troy Aikman said in his first Super Bowl, everything was fine. I was ready to go. It was just another game. And then I almost hyperventilated listening to the national anthem. You just don't know what it's going to be like. And by the way, the age difference between Russell Wilson and Peyton Manning, the largest we've ever had between 2 starting quarterbacks, come Super Bowl Sunday. Meanwhile, as is tradition every year on the Friday before the Super Bowl, Commissioner Roger Goodell held his annual State of the League address and press conference this morning. Among the myriad of topics covered, the idea of more cold weather outdoor Super Bowl games, the potential for more playoff teams, concussion issues, and others. To help us dissect exactly what Roger Goodell said and what we should be really focusing on, let's bring in ESPN insider Adam Schefter. Adam, as you listen to Roger and the things he addressed and the questions he answered, give me the 3 things that really stood out to you.
Trey, I think the NFL is pretty pleased with the way this whole week has gone with a cold weather city Super Bowl. But the fact of the matter is it's not rushing back to a cold weather city to have one. The next 3 Super Bowls are in Arizona, Santa Clara, and then Houston. And the Super Bowl here was given as an enticement to help get that stadium built, which is what will happen in the future. Minnesota is looking at hosting a Super Bowl because of the new stadium, but that's the only cold weather city that we can see on the horizon right now. Playoff expansion, Roger Goodell addressed that as well, as he had during the week. He believes it's going to be increased competitiveness, increased excitement. That's going to happen for the 2015 season. And of course, centralized replay in the New York office. They're looking to give officials in the New York office more control, take some of the control away from the officials on staff, and have basically a major set of eyes operating from the New York office, overlooking every game to make sure that they try to get as many calls right as possible, though that will meet objections of teams around the league.
All right, Adam, thanks. We'll see how that plays out going forward. Meanwhile, there was this story making the rounds on the Friday before the Super Bowl. FBI and other law enforcement agencies are investigating a white powder that was found around several hotels in and around the site of Super Bowl 48 at MetLife Stadium. Hazardous material teams checking out the substance. The FBI says it's investigating. No injuries have been reported yet, and sources telling ESPN the situation looks good. Preliminary tests indicate the powder is a non-toxic, naturally occurring substance. Lots more coming as we will dissect this team and these games from every angle. Peyton potentially using the biggest game in the biggest city to move to the head of the class of all the big-time quarterbacks we've ever seen. Plus, if it's Super Bowl week in New York, go big or go home, baby. We went really big for our bold predictions. That's ahead on NFL Live.
This special Super Bowl edition of NFL Live from New York City is presented by Macy's and in part by Las Vegas, now on Blu-ray with digital HD ultraviolet.
Xbox on. Xbox, Skype, Derek, you.
Louis never smiles.
Kiss the rainbow, taste the rainbow.
I have the flu. I took medicine, but I still have symptoms.
Truth is, not all flu products treat all your symptoms.
What?
Alka-Seltzer Plus Severe Cold and Flu speeds relief to these 8 symptoms.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
There's no better time to build your ultimate sports cave at Rent-A-Center, because right now you'll find super deals with no credit check. Plus, score a $10 Domino's Pizza promo card with any new agreement. And one lucky fan will walk away with the ultimate sports cave prize package, only at Rent-A-Center.
Save on the hottest flooring styles at Lumber Liquidators Exotic Flooring Sale. Get hand-scraped exotic, Brazilian cherry, and more, all on sale. And Brazilian redwood for up to 32% less than other stores. Plus, get laminates from 49 cents and special financing. Sales going on now at Lumber Liquidators.
Show it off, America. Show off that alternator you replaced. Show off the battery, the brake job, the rebuilt 454. You did it. There are a lot of places you can go to do it yourself, but there's only one place that can help you do it right: AutoZone. Because even the pros know parts are just part of what we do. We have the advice, the instructions, we even loan tools. So show it off, America. You did it right. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
It's the biggest game on the biggest stage. Super Bowl 48 in New York. SportsCenter in a New York state of mind. Live on site all week. And Super Sunday, we kick off the fun on Sunday NFL Countdown. Then NFL Prime Time wraps it all up after the game. Super Bowl 48 in New York, all week on ESPN.
You are watching a special Super Bowl edition of NFL Live from New York City, presented by Macy's.
It certainly feels good when you work hard your whole career to be the best player you can be and to accomplish your ultimate goal of winning that championship. And as a team, it really is a special feeling because you're sharing it with your coaches and your teammates. It truly is everything it's built up to be, and it sure is nice when you win it.
Well, what would a win do to Peyton Manning's legacy? We'd said it before, first QB ever to win with 2 different teams. He'd also be the first to win it after leading the league in passing yards and touchdowns. 55 of them. A win would put him back over 500 in the playoffs, or his teams at over 500. His 12 playoff wins would be the 6th most ever by a starting quarterback. He would also have Super Bowl titles 7 years apart. The starting QB who can say that is Joe Montana, who had his 8 years between his first and his last. It's all about this offense, and Demaryius Thomas knows it.
It's unbelievable now. You got guys on the opposite side of you. You got guys in the backfield, and then you got the quarterback that you have. You know, everybody is capable of making plays, and Peyton having so many options, you know, it's kind of easier.
For us to be balanced, it allows us to be more versatile in what we do, and it keeps defenses off guard. They can't key on one certain thing, and I think that's what gives you the best success to win.
They are a smart defense, and they communicate well, and so they do a good job, you know, pre-snap and post-snap.
You have to be precise on your routes. You got to be precise on your depth, what you're doing, and stay on top of all that and make sure that you're doing what you can to get open and make plays.
Of course, that offense of the Broncos will run at its best on Sunday if the weather is really nice. No precipitation, no frigid temperatures, no high winds. So how is that forecast looking as it's changed throughout the week? Time for football and weather together with the weekend forecast from ABC News meteorologist Ginger Z.
We've got a changing forecast for Super Bowl Sunday. A little excitement here as the cold front slows down. Looks like pockets of rain could stick around late morning, early afternoon, as it keeps slowing down, as they usually do, maybe even at the beginning of the game. You saw 40s there to start the game. That might actually beat the 1972 New Orleans 39 start, so this may end up not being the coldest. Can you imagine? And then the wind, everybody watching that, well, gusts to about 16, maybe 20, and looks like it'll kind of vary throughout the game. Not as bad as it once looked, and here is how we'll step down temperature-wise from the 40s to just above freezing by the end of game time. The front will have passed. You'll feel the difference, and you'll feel the wind chill too. So just because you're seeing 30s doesn't mean it feels like it. The wind chill will stay in the 20s, at worst teens. But I think we're all going to be okay, whether you're watching or they're playing. Looks like overall we got away with one here.
All right, Ginger, thanks. That's interesting. We got away with one in Indianapolis a couple of years ago, not because of the game, but because the weather during the build-up to it was great. So it will be up to that #1 all-time scoring offense to find dents in that #1 scoring defense that really no one has really been able to find, except for a couple of quarters maybe by the Tampa Bay Bucks of all teams up in Seattle. Mark, when that offense is at its best, what does Peyton have to do?
Well, you look at Peyton, what he's been able to do over the course of his career is to basically get you in the best possible position to have success, expose your defense, and find the one-on-ones. He sees a blitz off the edge here. He understands we've got one-on-one protection, and this linebacker's got to bubble over the top to cover that tight end. That is a mismatch, an easy touchdown. He recognizes it, gets them in that play. Then you've got a loaded box here. You know Demaryius Thomas one-on-one at the top of the screen right there. That's like stealing. It's too easy. And that's what Peyton Manning does to you. I don't know how he recognizes they're going to get into cover 3 here, but he understands.
There's a lot going on
there.
Good defensive disguise.
Right, it's great disguise. He still sees it. He's going to throw the corner route right here. As this corner down the bottom bails, the corner route's going to come. Look at him eyeballing over to the other side. He understands right where they're going, throws it to the corner. Big time pickup. So that's exactly what he's been able to do, to recognize what defenses are doing to him and get his football team in the best possible position to make big plays.
Yeah, it's the pre-snap read that allows him to get the ball away so quickly. You know, if you can get to the quarterback in under 3 seconds, normally you got a chance. With Peyton, that ball's already out at about 2.5 seconds. So what's the biggest concern, Teddy, as a defender trying to figure out what he's already figured out?
Yeah, once the pre-snap equation is set, the ball is snapped, and now you're going into your defensive zone coverages or man-to-man coverages. That's where the challenge really poses itself, because you have to really have good communication, because it's been talked about for 2 weeks, and let's just continue to talk about it. The pick routes. That's right, I'll say it, the pick routes. They're coming from one side or the other. If you're a defender and you have them in man-to-man, you see them chase, you're going to have a traffic situation. You're going to have to work through it, or it's an easy 9-yard gain for Wes Welker right there. You see a simple clearing versus the New England Patriots up here to the trips on the defensive left. Traffic problems, young player like Jamie Collins, rookie linebacker, look at all the space that he gives, an easy throw and catch for Peyton Manning and Julius Thomas. That's the traffic problems. Also communication, because if you're in a zone and you know that you're going to have problems, you almost might have to change responsibilities. Look at almost the wall of blocking right here that you have to get through as a linebacker when you have that outside flat or that back in man-to-man situations. It's communication and working your way through traffic. That's post-snap. That's what's the biggest threat that Seattle's going to have to do. And they play a lot of zone. So if I'm in a zone and I see that crosser coming, and you see a crosser coming back, you've got to tell your fellow zone defender that it's coming, because you're looking at that quarterback, and you have to have good communication from your fellow defenders.
All right, so let's say strength on strength cancels each other out. That doesn't always happen, but let's say the aerial attack and the #1 Legion of Boom secondary sort of, it's a stalemate. So let's look at the Broncos' running game. They ranked 15 this season, enough to keep defenses honest. In his 2 previous Super Bowl runs, Manning had 1 rushing attack which ranked in the middle of the pack, and 1 that was dead stinking last. The last time he had a decent running game in the Super Bowl, that was with Dominique Rhodes and Joseph Adai in Indianapolis in Super Bowl 41. They went on to win that game. So when they want to run the ball, when they do run the ball, Mark, what keys are you looking for?
Well, I really look at what the defense does. Everything the Denver Broncos do is predicated on what you show them as a defense. And Peyton Manning does an outstanding job of getting you in the right play. But this offensive line is probably underrated from a power standpoint. You see the double team on the backside, the one-on-one with center, right guard, nice little crease, nice little alley right there for the running back. Again, now we're running a little handoff to the right side, but we're going to run a tight end across there like a little wheel play, and then get an opening, a side opening out there on the backside. And this one I love. 2 high safeties. There's nobody in the middle of the field. We're just going to manhandle people in one-on-one. We've got a double team. We don't have to worry about the edges. We're going to get that thing blocked up, and that's exactly where they are. So they give you such great looks because that defense is so worried about Peyton Manning and what he brings to the table, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, 2 high safeties, there's nobody in the middle of the field, no backers to account for. Boom, there you go. 12 yards, you know, that's how they operate.
To that point, this is how Peyton statistically has affected the running game, including the playoffs. An NFL high 224 of Knowshon Moreno's rushes have come with 6 or fewer defenders in the box. He sees what you want to do, and if you're going to take away the play that was called, like you said, he'll just let Knowshon Moreno or Monte Ball run out there and get 5, 6, 7 yards, and we'll keep those chains moving. Lots more coming as we dissect this game from every angle. We'll examine the Seahawks on both sides of the ball. I'll tell you what both Russell Wilson and Richard Sherman have to do if Seattle wants to take home its first ever Lombardi trophy. And oh yeah, we're having a good time here at Herald Square. A lot of our fans and friends are out here behind us, and we got the camera on them. We're glad they're here. They're making the experience fun for us. We should be here as well on NFL Live. Stay with us. Lots more coming.